It was after a legal tussle because our lawyers to our union representatives filed a case for us. So we filled a form that we are not laid off because we are a parastatal, like any parastatal, and federal government took over the responsibility of paying us off because it's federal government that liquidated the airline, gave the receivership of the liquidation to a receiver. They claimed that the assets of Nigeria Airways could not offset our entitlements. So that negotiation between the receiver and the federal government had to arrange to pay us, and that's what made our case to be alive up to now. If not, we could have been forgotten.
I'm Christiana Adama Uba. I am the National Gender Officer of Nigerian Union of Pensioners Contributory Pension Section. I retired in 2015 from the Budget Office of the Federation. At the inception of this contributory pension, I was the Departmental Pension Officer in MOD, Ministry of Defense. Then I asked them so many questions as to how effective this thing is going to be to us. You know, a lot of civil servants, as of today, don't know what we are passing through. They don't even know how evil this contributory pension is. Just like we then. I asked them, and the answer they gave me was that because of the flaws that they saw in the defined benefit pension scheme, that is why they now brought in contributory pension, that the civil servants will contribute and government will contribute to make it easier for civil servants. That once the person is retiring, that very day you are retiring, they will give you your everything. It was a deceit.
It now seems the sacrifices of his
and
golden
I believe
years were
God
in
will
vain.
not find it funny
Marred by
with
grim
those people
reality.
that put us into this mess.
The delay or complete
When one is
denial
retired,
of his
is
pensions
a
and
condemned
gratuities.
criminal.
The long wait
That is what we
sent
are
many
today.
to early graves,
You can see
unable
me,
to
you
live
can
in
see,
dignity
by the grace
after a
of God, this is
lifetime
where I
of
retired to.
service.
But since then, I have one vehicle. That one vehicle, I cannot repair it, I cannot maintain it. So by God's grace, my daughter came and picked it to a mechanic. Up till now, it's not returned. Thank God you said you were coming. That was why I agreed, because if it is for me to come and meet you somewhere, I cannot. I don't have even 500 naira in everything I have. Since then, these people took us for granted. When I retired, it was tug of war for me to get half of about 15 point something million was my total. And I had to struggle with them before I got 7 million. And then the balance, I now took annuity and entered into one chance, this African Alliance. A copper that served in my office, in budget office, was the one that introduced me to one chance. And imagine, since May, they have not paid me and all the others. So they said that they are going to invest our money. And then it is all false. It is, what other term will I use to describe this thing? It is scam. I'm telling you the truth. You know, I have a cataract in these eyes. It's been troubling me. I needed money to go and remove it. in that Tusley Eye Foundation. I went there too. I went there to get attention so that they can remove this thing and my eyes will be okay. But I've not been able to raise the money. Most of our colleagues, they are dying anyhow because they don't have money to go to hospital. The situation is so bad. I have 2 sons that have finished university, you know. They served 2016, 2017. Up till now, they don't have job. It is still that little money they are paying us a pension that all of us will eat. Immediate family. You see now, the boys are not working. They are not working. They don't make money. Oh, every effort they make, nothing is coming out. I have another daughter that is working with the federal government from end of Abuja to another end of Abuja. That's where her office is. From Day to Karshi. That's where her office is. And she lives in Day. So the transport alone takes all her salary that she cannot give us a cup of water. It's too difficult. And we don't even call her because we know the situation she's passing through. So the situation is very, very hopeless. You see? How am I being? Look at, I used to have an NGO that was to be teaching reading because I came from education and I have a call in education. Even in the dreams, I will be shown things. How, if you go to primary schools in our FCT here, let me just forget about other areas. In FCT here, you will cry for Nigeria. I used to, because I was asked to be going to those primary schools to be doing volunteer teaching, to be helping the pupils so that they can gain how to read. Do you know in our primary schools, you go there, you see primary 6 pupils that cannot identify alphabets. So that thing pained me so much that I now formed this NGO. That's the office I showed you inside there. That was what I put my money into when I started. I had an office in Dako so that from there I go to schools. I bought books to share to pupils and teachers so that they will learn introductory reading so that pupils can read, you know. But by the time my money finished, I became handicapped. I had to vacate the office. The computers are here. My books are what you saw in that room there. So nothing, all effort, every effort I made to get things, because I cannot sit in a place not doing anything. I'm not made like that. So I find it difficult to go out. Even now, I don't have 10 naira to move out, nothing. They are paying me 65,583 every month. And since that 2015, there is no increment. But the law says that after, when it is increment in civil servants' salaries, there will be pension increment. They have done for the DBS people, even the NNPC people, they have done for theirs. But our own, nobody is speaking for us. So they take us for granted. Even the National Assembly does not see the need to change things for us. Some of our members are collecting less than 20,000 naira as pension. I'm telling you the truth. So why? They should release our monies. They should pay us our pension increment, pay us our pensions, and pay the people that have retired, and let there be peace. They take us for granted, and they are doing all their wuru-wuru, everything they are doing now. That is not leadership. God is seeing all of us. As we are crying, narrating our ordeal, heaven will stand to avenge us for that. They will not go free. None of them. I said it that day in a gate of Ministry of Finance, that anybody that is responsible for this thing we are passing through, they will not finish well. Unless God is God of one person, that they can pocket God, that is when they will. Yet they don't fear God. They don't have justice. They don't have fairness in whatever they are doing. They feel that after all, they are retired. What would they do? God will visit them and close their offices because they are not relevant. Those offices are useless.
Unlike Mrs. Uba, who at least received some money, Haruna Musa's case is still pending. The Nigeria Airways case is peculiar. When President Olusegun Obasanjo liquidated the company, former staff were owed 78 billion naira. By 2017, President Muhammadu Buhari approved the payment of 45 billion naira owed former staff. Today, an outstanding 33 billion naira still remains unpaid. Years of hardship have taken a toll on Dotimi. The unpaid bills keep piling high.
I retired 31st of March 2023. This is about 18 months ago. The federal government has not paid us anything. My PFA is IBTC. We've done everything. They done that reconciliation sometime far back in April. And I was notified for that reconciliations, giving me that there was excess money that they remitted, which about 48,000 thereabout, they deducted it back and gave me a balance of my retirement savings, my contribution, and that of federal government contributions that made up the retirement savings, excluding the accrued rights. That is, the accrued right is the right that I'm entitled to for the period that I worked from 1988 to 2004, when this new act came into existence. The portion, that accrued right portion, has not been paid to me. And that is why I have not been able to access my pension retirement up to this moment, after 18 years of retirement, after putting in 35 years.
From food to health care, life as a pensioner is hard.
It has never been easy because you are somebody having, no matter how small the salary is, you're able to plan with your salary. So at least at the end of 30 days, you know that this is what you want to do with it. But since after 18 months of service, there is nothing like that. So you can imagine the trauma that one will go through. But we find out that we're very, very disappointed, and life has never been so easy, especially for some of my colleagues. Many of them have died from preventable diseases. You are seeing your money. Your PFA will give you your balance, but you cannot access it. So you can see the trauma that you are going to. You have money, you can't access it. Your children are sick, you can't access it. And worst of it, they've even, as soon as you retire, you are off from the National Health Insurance Scheme. So you can't even access a little health facility from the primary providers. So it has never been easy. But to God be the glory, we have been surviving. But it's a pity that one has to serve federal government. It's not good. And it's a lesson for those who are still in the system. From my set, I think I can comfortably tell you about 4 of them have gone. And some are still in critical conditions that you cannot, they can't, basic paracetamol, they can't buy it, my sister. They can't buy it because there is no money to buy it. The law is obnoxious. That law is wicked. That law is, they may have a good intention, to say, with the law, but then the implementers of that law are wicked. For example, now, I serve as an accountant to assistant director's position. And you are not telling me after 35 years in service that I cannot manage my fund, that you give me a peanut, and then you now manage the other fund. And then at the end of the day, you'll be giving me piecemeal as a monthly pension. Give me my money. I know what to do at the stock market and trade with it. And let me just manage my fund.
Both employers and employees contribute to this scheme, which promises security for workers in their old age. Illustration of the contributory pension scheme showing how funds are supposed to flow from employer and employee contributions. But the transition from the old defined benefit scheme to the new contributory pension scheme has not been smooth. Many workers are still owed accrued benefits from the old scheme, leaving them in financial limbo.
Pension fund administrators became very important. In other words, they are, as their name implies, pension fund administrators. So the contributions go to these people. Now, but the concept is that the employee has the right to choose who he or she wants to be her pension fund administrator. So by the time the person retires, they have access to that pension fund. So the entire idea about the PENCOM and PFAs is to ensure that there's a healthy management of the pension space to avoid what was the characteristic of retirees in the past, whereby they retire but having access to their fund is very problematic. In fact, sometimes government will not have the money to pay them when they retire.
Yet, even retirees from 2023 have not been paid their dues. Aliyu, a pension administrator, offers insight into the challenges of the system.
Well, in as much as it's evolving and is an ongoing concern, I think there's need to continuously review the PENCOM, because if you look at the RSA retirement saving account, discover that there are a lot of conditions. The first condition is that when you have to leave your work before you are 50, there's a level you can only access 25% of it, which sometimes, why can't you access 50%? And if you eventually retire, maybe above 55, you still cannot access everything. It becomes a problem. I recall before, you cannot change your PFA. But now I think with the new law, we've been able that you can port, let them use that language, you can move from one to the other. So we want them to also continuously move into that direction to make sure it's to our benefit. In as much as it's helping government to also have money to use, we the workers also want to benefit from our pension. Do you want us to die before we can access the fund? And I think when you retire, to collect 50% is too small. They can jack it up to like 75 to 80%. And eventually, if you lost your job, which is rampant in Nigeria, now you may need to collect that money to do businesses. This is what they need to consider. I think it should be reviewed.
For Haruna Musa and many others like him, the fight for their pension continues as they grow older. The question remains, how long can they wait?